Hello there, guys. Welcome back to Younes Talks Football. Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. So we're deep now into the search of who is the next Chelsea manager as we move on from the life of Graham Potter as Chelsea boss. And that is now a thing of the past. And I have to say, I'm very thankful. But we saw the game yesterday with Liverpool. Chelsea-Liverpool finishing 0-0 in the manner that it did really shouldn't have happened that way. And there are doubts as to whether Bruno Sauter is, let's say, fit enough to be able to take it, right, to the end of the season. Because yesterday there were aspects of, this is basically Graham Potter light. This is, you could argue just the bald Spanish Graham Potter in charge. And we kind of don't want that, albeit, much like I said when I was advocating for us to move on from Graham Potter, I did say, look, even if it's an interim, just do it, because you'll at least get a step up compared to what we were doing before. And it goes to show, even with yesterday, even against that poor Liverpool team, I truly think that if we had kept going in the way that we did, like we did against Aston Villa, with Potter in charge, with the same sort of setup, with the same, feeling, we probably would have lost against Liverpool as well. Like, that's just how it is. And we drew. Performance was, you could say, slightly better. Definitely better in terms, as I said, the slight urgency, the will and the aggressiveness to press on a tackle, to be able to get into a position, to apply pressure, the speed of some passes. But overall, the shape was off. Positioning at times was off. We were still being a little bit lackadaisical with the way that we were moving the ball. Sometimes just carelessly hitting the ball just for the sake of it. There was one portion of the game yesterday, and it's a clip that surfaced online. I couldn't believe when I didn't actually think of it when watching the game. And I looked back and I was like, oh my God. Oh my goodness. And that was Chelsea with the ball, trying to get it past. They lose the ball, and then Liverpool hit it, and then Chelsea hit it back, and then Liverpool hit it back, and then Chelsea hit it back, and it just looked like it looked like a school match. It's football you see year 10s playing. Really, really bad. Really bad. So this is where you look at it and you think, yeah, with an interim, to the end of the season, it's better than what we had before. But when you have managers on the market, like Nagelsmann, like Luis Enrique, that are available now, you have to take notice and you have to apply that possibility of, if we get one of them in now rather than wait to the summer, we might be able to salvage something this season. We still don't quite know what these players are capable of on their own. And I think that's what we're seeing under Bruno, because right now Bruno does not have any hold of this team, let's be honest. The only thing, this is why I was saying, if Bruno's going to take it at the end of the season, mate, forget tactics and all of that. Just get the boys together. Get them playing for each other. Because we have to be realistic. The guy's not a manager, right? He can only do what he can do. I'm not expecting him to show up and put on a flipping Sir Alex Ferguson masterclass. I'm expecting him to just get everyone back on side and playing for each other. Which for yesterday, to an extent, there was that, I would say. There wasn't any animosity or anyone being sluggish. I just think loads of players were making mistakes, and some players had really good games. Kante, for example, brilliant. Enzo, brilliant. Fofana, brilliant. That's basically it, So that's where you have to look to the possibility of getting a manager that is available now. Albeit, I have to say this, if we even were to get a manager come in now, am I expecting miracles from them? If Nagelsmann walks through the door, am I expecting him to just transform this team immediately? No. Luis Enrique, immediately? No. But at least he would be able to come in with a blueprint and go, look, very quickly, I need this from you, 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 I need this from you. Let's go and let's see how this works. Because Bruno's definitely not doing that. Now, talking about asking players to get something done pretty quickly, I need this from you, I need this from you, we've got news, right? We've got news. Let's get right into it and I'll show you what has been said. This has come from Matt Law. Check this out. Chelsea players are convinced that the next permanent head coach will be either Julian Nagelsmann or Luis Enrique. There are also concerns among the squad over the possibility of Bruno Souta remaining in charge until the end of the season. So clearly, if there's doubts with Bruno and there were the whispers about what we'd heard after Graham Potter got sacked, well, clearly the squad wasn't happy, were they? See, this goes back to the point. I have to mention this because there were people believing every single word that was being thrown out, right? Oh, no, look, Kai Havertz said everyone's happy, therefore everyone's happy. Or someone comes out and says, oh, no, we're happy, we're together, it's a great feeling amongst the camp. I'm not going to swear. This is where we're fasting and whatnot, of course. No, I'm not going to swear. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. Of course they're going to come out publicly and say that, right? But you don't have to be a massive body language expert to know that there's something wrong. Or there was something wrong. That's just the truth. There was something wrong. That was evident. It was clear that there were players there in that squad that were just not bothered. It wasn't even a case of, there's players that are angry. I don't think players were angry. I think some players were genuinely just unhappy. Some players were genuinely just dead inside. I think that was the one. And that's the one that can be the most dangerous, like I've said previously. I'd rather have a player show that they're unhappy or angry or upset because you can try and find a solution to that. The worst is when you have someone that's just got no reaction and you don't quite know where they stand and you think they're okay, but deep down they're dead inside. And they're not gonna give you anything. And you think that they're going to, but they're not going to. That's the worst, and that's exactly what I think happened with Graham Potter, because overall he had no authority in that dressing room. So there's that. But Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann, one of them coming in, it does seem very, very likely now that it's going to be one of those two. Although, I do want to say, even though they're available now, don't expect an appointment to be made very quickly. Because I genuinely think Chelsea are going to drag this process to try and, interview as many as they can, get to the bottom of who they really think is going to be good and perfect for this team, and then go with that decision, rather than just think, these guys are available, okay, hire one of them now. I don't think they're going to do that. So, let's get into the detail of how it's been with Nagelsmann and Enrique, seeing as they are available, and their talks with Chelsea Football Club right now, which have commenced. Let's get into the latest via Cope. This is what they've had to say. Luis Enrique's meeting with Chelsea went very well, and they were delighted with what he had to say. A decision may still not come immediately as the Blues continue to evaluate other options. And this is exactly what I've just said. I don't think it's going to come quickly, which leads me to believe that Bruno will be in charge until the end of the season. I genuinely think we'll hire someone at the end of the season. I don't think it's going to be now. Although it's a possibility that Chelsea may just go, okay, look, we're satisfied. We're going to hire you, whether it's Julian or whether it's Luis Enrique. Or maybe there's others, but I don't see it happening. Jacob Steinberg has more to say on this. Here it is. Some sources believe the Chelsea job is Julian Nagelsmann's to lose. However, he has indicated a desire to wait until the summer before working again and will want to know more about the club's project. So this falls into the hands of Luis Enrique. If he plays his cards right, he might be the only one that can get the job right now. So, Nagelsmann wants to wait till the summer. I'm sure not even Luis Enrique will go, no, I'll take the job tomorrow. I think that everyone that's going to be a candidate is going to be looking and going, look, I need assurances here. I need to make sure that I need to know what I'm coming into. Because Chelsea Football Club, the way we operate is unique. And it's funny because it come out after Graham Potter got sacked that Todd Bowley and the ownership, their reaction from the fans were quite surprising. They were surprised by how ruthless and how cutthroat the Chelsea fans were as a whole. Mate, Todd Bowley, Begdad Egbali, everyone in charge of Chelsea, welcome to Chelsea Football Club. This is how we operate. I'm being serious. Welcome to Chelsea. This is how it is. Get used to it. Get used to it. Chelsea fans as a whole, look, the fan base, I don't want to lean into the thing of, look, Chelsea fans are very just short-term. All they want is immediate success. They just want a trophy immediately. We're not like that. We're not like that. Chelsea fans, don't insult Chelsea fans' intelligence, is what I would say. Chelsea fans as a whole, the fan base, no matter where you stand, you can be very patient, you can be very cutthroat. But as a whole, I genuinely think the fan base are happy to go long-term, let's say. But we need to see something to believe in here. We need to be able to know that there's progress being made. We need to know that we can get behind the guy who's in charge, and what we're seeing is we're satisfied with. If there's that, mate, we're happy to give the manager time. There's no problem. But don't ever drop the standards. That's the key. Do not ever drop the standard. Like we've seen at other clubs where standards have dropped and then mediocrity's been accepted. We're not about that life. We're not. And if it's the players, we're able to identify it's the players. If it's the manager, we're able to identify it's the manager, and we can just say, you're not fit enough, mate. See you later. And that's where it becomes cutthroat. But we won't just accept and just give time to any Tom, Dick or Harry, just for the sake of giving time. No. You need to show us something, mate. You need to show us something with the standards that we are upholding here. If you do, I have to say, much like Thomas Tuchel did, right? Much like previous managers have. But if you don't, and it goes beyond the line, I mean, look, even with Frank Lampard, and we love Frank, right? Lamps is Lamps. Good old Lampsy. As a player, he's one of, if not the greatest, right, that we've had at this club. But as a manager, we had to be honest with ourselves. We're sorry. It's just not, you're not cutting it, mate. Simple. So the standards are the standards. So when it comes to managers now, I genuinely think managers will want to know what they're coming into. And I agree with them. I agree. I would. So look, there's that. Moving more on to Luis Enrique, because today it seemed like it was his turn to be able to talk to Chelsea and whatnot. This is what has happened and what he did in preparation for those talks. Check this out. Luis Enrique prepared a presentation for Chelsea outlining every detail about his vision for the club and his plans for each player in the squad. That is actually quite admirable, I have to say. Now, to go into more detail, because this isn't on Twitter, I read this, I think I read it on Insta. I think it was CFC News page, I'm not sure. But apparently Luis Enrique got a data company to prepare a presentation with all sorts of points that he would like to apply, with detail about every player in the squad and what he would like to do with them. I mean, that is really deep attention to detail. For a man that has willingly come to London to talk to Chelsea and not done it on the phone, that's quite admirable, I have to say. So, fair play, and it seems like he has a plan. It seems like he knows what he wants, and it seems like he has a blueprint on how he's going to operate from day one, which is going to fill Chelsea and us, I think, with a lot of confidence. Now, I'm going to entertain the whole Nagelsmann-Enrique thing at the end of this video, so I'm going to pause what I said about Enrique just now, and I'm going to move to what Matt Laws had to say very quickly, because there's one point here that we have to laugh about. Check this out. Chelsea manager latest, Enrique flies to London. Club also in contact with Nagelsmann. Chelsea committed to speaking to up to 5 candidates, including Poch, to establish frontrunner. Caretaker to end of season not ruled out. Lampard is one idea. Okay. Look, we're gonna stop this right now, right? And I know I can see Matt Law is the one that's pushing this, right? I can see that, especially with the thing about Bruno not being a big popularity amongst the Chelsea squad. We might need a caretaker. Here you go. Here's Lamps. No. Please. I'd rather keep Bruno. And some of you may be like, no, but why? We'll just get Lampard, at least for the end of the season. Look, don't tarnish Lampard anymore, please. Look, we've tried and tested that. It failed. Okay, look, Lampard comes in. Immediately, we're going to all end up in the delusion of, oh no, Lampard's going to win the Champions League with Chelsea, right? We're going to do that. And then he loses a few games, gets knocked out, and then what? At least with an interim, up until the end of the season, it's going to be a case of, look, we've got an interim. Whatever happens, happens. Simple. There's not that long left. There's just no point. That's just not. Lamps was great where he was yesterday in the ground, right? He was up in the box. Great. Brilliant. more than welcome, club legend, we love him to bits. But can we not put him through that again, please? Even for an interim, even for a caretaker, no. There's not that long left of the season. There's not much to salvage in the Premier League. It's dead. Graham Potter killed that nicely, right? It's over. We're going to finish 11th or 10th. Let's face it right now. At best, we might get a Conference League spot. We're not doing any more than that. We're just so far behind. So to think that, we're going to get Lamps in just to go for it in the Champions League against Real Madrid, against Carlo. And again, the same logic can be applied to Bruno. But to get a manager that failed with players that failed with him, right? There are still players in that team that it didn't go well with, right? And he's going to come back and try and work with them in the short term to get a result. I'd rather Bruno in charge until the end of the season. And I'd rather just turn to the players and go, lads, do you have it within you? Do you have something within you? Go and do it. And then let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens. But up until that point, no. End of the season, we get someone. If not, if it's going to be soon, it'll be Nagelsmann or it'll be Luis Enrique, I think. So there's that. But if we're going to go to the whole debate about Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique, because I've got my pros and I've got my cons in both. I've got my pros. Nagelsmann, in terms of his work at Hoffenheim, in terms of his work at Bayern Munich, overall, right, Leipzig, of course, overall, he's not done badly at all. And his stats speak for himself. His win percentages speak for themselves. I don't think he's had below 50%, which is the bare minimum. I don't think he's got below 55. He's got a good record. Overall, what he done at Leipzig, very, very underappreciated, I feel. Getting them to a Champions League semi-final, being able to do what he done at that club. Obviously, moving on to Bayern Munich, which for him, I think, was the goal. And did well there overall, except I think a lot of people just not satisfied with the way that they were playing. The style of play was maybe not what I think Bayern Munich fans or a lot of people on the outside just wanted or expected to see. But when it comes to Julian Nagelsmann at Chelsea, I think he's versatile. I think that he understands the 4 phases of play very, very well, which he's outlined in interviews before, and how important that is. And I think that's the base. You need to know how to attack. You need to know how to defend. You need to know how to work on an offensive transition, and you need to know how to work on a defensive transition. When you've won the ball and when you've lost the ball. When you're defending and when you're attacking. Those are the 4 phases, right? He understands the importance in order to be good in every single one of them. I think there's many people that understand that there are managers that work in just maybe 1 or 2 of those, or maybe just half of those, and not all 4. A good football team that's going to compete, right, for trophies and for titles, have to nail every single one of those phases. Simple. So I think he understands that pretty well. I think with Nagelsmann and the setup at Chelsea right now, there's 2 things that are going for him. Christopher Vivel is working at Chelsea, who he's worked with before. So immediate, let's say, chemistry, right, between them and what is expected of them. And Nkunku's going to be coming to Chelsea in the summer. That is someone that was quite, coming from Leipzig, who was quite predominant in terms of how Nagelsmann worked at Leipzig. And I think that's something that's going to be pretty much like a chain. You look at Nkunku, you look Nagelsmann, and you look Christopher Vivel. It's a nice line there. In order for Nagelsmann's way to get, stamped onto the team. So there's that. On the flip side, yes, it didn't end well at Bayern Munich. He got sacked, even though he was doing all right. So it goes to show what happened. What went down. That's something we need to know. On top, he is young. 35 years old. Is he going to be commanding that respect that we desperately need? And I think for me, the next Chelsea manager, that needs to be the number 1 trait. They need to have authority. Pure authority on that team. Authority and a plan on how to be able to get the team playing. But not just a plan in and itself. You need to have the authority with it. If you don't, you're screwed. You're stuffed. So at 35 years old, age is just a number sometimes. I do think Nagelsmann does possess authority. I think he can get that across. But I hope he's not the sort of guy where he just shouts and he thinks he's got the authority, but deep down they're looking at him going, nah, he's not about that life. I hope he's not. And I think that's the only con that there is that is he inexperienced? Is what he's done at, Bayern Munich in the short space of time he was there enough? The same can be applied to Luis Enrique. Now, Luis Enrique, the pro that he has is the egos he's managed. Poch went to PSG and flopped because of ego, because of players that were superstars. Luis Enrique at Barcelona held it down pretty well and got them playing pretty well after Pep Guardiola. You could argue that everything was already in place for Luis Enrique to just continue, right? But it's not easy managing those sort of players, and he did, and he won every single trophy there was to be won. He did the treble in one season. The con with Luis Enrique is that's it. Since then, we've not seen anything else. And that's where I look and I think it can go either way. He might come to this Chelsea team and revolutionise it, or he might come to this Chelsea team and we might see some of the same struggles that we saw in the Spain team, for example. Where there wasn't any bite. And he did change, and he does have the bravery and the risk-taking to be able to change things or drop players when they have to be dropped. But is there an output? Is there a goal achieved by making that decision? At Chelsea, look, it's not easy. It's really not easy. But at the end of the day, who is it that we can possibly go for? Luis Enrique and his style of football is something I think that a lot of people would appreciate. Very vertical. And overall, if I have to choose between them, if you'd asked me a few days ago, I would have said Nagelsmann. Right now, I can't help but think that even with what Nagelsmann might be able to bring, Luis Enrique does have that experience, has been at the very top. And right now, of all the candidates, I don't think there's anyone that has that except Luis Enrique. So day by day, I'm starting to lean even more and more, and I'm starting to understand what people are saying when it comes to Luis Enrique. But I have to be honest and say that I hope that it's not just a case of, what he done at Barca was because he had MSN. He had Messi, Suarez and Neymar. He just had it. And he made it work. And that's it. I hope that's not all that Luis Enrique is. Do you know what I mean? So it's very difficult. It's very difficult. This process, and this is why I think it's going to take a while. This is why I don't think there's going to be a decision very soon. We will see what happens overall. There's going to be other candidates as well, Poch. And there's been talk there's going to be 6 or 7 names overall. Even guys that have not been mentioned yet. So I think it's going to be a process, and I think Bruno's going to be in charge for the foreseeable future, so we'll see what happens. But let me know in the comments who you would go for. Who do you prefer? Do you prefer Luis Enrique? Do you prefer Julian Nagelsmann? And let's see what happens. Is there any other names that you would prefer? Let me know, and we'll see where it goes. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash like button if you have enjoyed this, and I will see all of you tomorrow for a brand new one. Have a good one, people. See you lot then. Take care, and peace.